What is good, YouTube family? Welcome back to Creativity with Purpose, where we create with purpose on purpose. My name is Bilani Mdaga, and I am so glad to have you here. Now, as you can already tell by the title of this video today, I have a sit down chit chat video for you guys, and we will be speaking about the things that you can do to get out of a creative funk. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into this video. So, as you already know, I am a creative, and I feel like when it comes to creativity, there's certain there's certain times in this journey where you really just lose your motivation, you feel demotivated, you don't really have that creative spark that you usually have. And so I felt like, let me share some of these tips that I use that could possibly help you as well. Even if you don't consider yourself to be someone who's a creative, I think it can also help you in any other area of your life where you feel like you have lost your creativity, or you've lost your spark, or you're just feeling demotivated in general. I feel like these tips can help you in those areas as well, and not just as a creative. But this one is especially for my creatives, because I know how difficult it can be, when you want to put the work out there, you want to be consistent, but you just don't have that motivation. But yeah, guys, I hope you will enjoy this video, and if you happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to like, comment, share, as well as subscribe and turn on those notification bells so you're notified every single time that I upload a new video. So the first step that I have here is take a step back to evaluate. And the reason that I say take a step back to evaluate is because I feel like sometimes we can get so used to being in the consistency part of things, but we don't really know the purpose behind why we are creating the content that we are creating. So when you take a step to evaluate your why, it will help you to get back into that, this is why I'm doing this, and so therefore I'm encouraged to create more, because I know that, for example, I'm helping people to maybe live better lives. I'm helping people to pursue Christ. I'm helping people to, whatever it is that you started with, whatever mindset that you started with, your reason and your why of doing things, of creating this content, of putting this work out there, whatever it is, ensure that you take a step back to constantly remind yourself of why you're doing this. Because when you evaluate, then you're able to actually remember that, okay, this is not something that is just about me, it's much bigger than me. I do this to help people, I do this to, whatever it is that you're doing it for, taking a step back to evaluate really, really helps. And the second point is remember the purpose of your content. So I feel like number one and number two are basically the same. Number one is basically the action of you taking a step back, and then number two is basically the action of you now reminding yourself, whether it's you writing down, whether it's you journaling, whether it's you speaking to someone about why you started doing what you're doing in the first place. I think it really helps for you to remember your purpose behind your creativity. Number three is execute more than you consume. I cannot stress this enough. I feel like a lot of us find ourselves consuming a lot of content, even if it's, content that may inspire you, content that may encourage you in any way. I feel like it's important for us to be mindful of the time that we spend in consuming content, because sometimes you can find yourself in a position where you consume so much to the point where you don't execute. So you make all these plans that you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but you never really get to the executing of things. And I think a big factor that can lead to that is when you are consuming too much. You become overly stimulated, and you just lose that touch, you lose that spark of, okay, let me actually do this. Because it makes you feel like when you consume a lot of content, it sometimes has this thing of making you feel like you're doing something when in reality you're actually not. So get to executing and minimize the consuming. The next step is stop comparing. Comparison truly is the thief of joy, and it's also linked to the previous point, because once you find yourself consuming a lot of content from other people, then you find yourself comparing yourself. You find yourself comparing your work, and your creativity, you feel like it's not good enough because so and so does it like this, or so and so doesn't do it like this. So I always say that leave room for inspiration but avoid imitation. It's important for you to get inspired by other creatives within the same industry as you, but I feel like if you genuinely want to be real with yourself, you need to also minimize the amount of content that you consume of people who do the same thing as you, because at the end of the day you're going to start comparing how you do things, or how they do things, or how you don't do things, or how you have this equipment and they don't have this, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's important for you to really just take a very realistic look and speak to yourself truthfully. Be honest with yourself about the fact that, am I consuming this content to be inspired, or am I just genuinely consuming this content to pass time by? Because at the end of the day, you need to realize that whether you are consciously aware of it or not, your brain is taking in those things, and you start to eventually compare yourself. You know, scrolling mindlessly, you start to compare yourself, and you never actually get to the executing, as I've said in the previous points. And you don't want to get to the executing because you have this idea in your mind that so and so's work is better than yours. But you need to remember that nobody else is going to do the work that the way that you're going to do it. Nobody else has been given the exact same talents and gifts that you have been given, and even if they do, they're not going to do it the same as you. You have been created specifically and uniquely the way you have been created for a reason. And so when you start to dim the light of your uniqueness, it starts to look the same as everyone else. And so if you're copying someone else, and you're taking if you're dimming the light that God has put within you, if you're dimming those talents that He has put within you, and those things that make you that He has put within you, who is going to take the place of who you're supposed to be? If Bulani starts wanting to act like so and so, who is going to take that place of Bulani? You know what I'm saying? So you've been created uniquely with those characteristics and talents and visions and all of these things that God has put within you for a reason. And so I feel like it's very important for you to be honest with yourself and remind yourself, of the fact that you are unique and no one person is the same. And that's where the beauty of your creativity lies, the fact that you do things differently, and each and every single person does things differently. You all have a different thing to offer to the world. The next point is let go of the fear and excuses. I don't know how many times I've heard, I don't have the equipment I need, or I don't have this, or I don't have this, I don't have the followers that I need. At the end of the day, when are you going to start? You're never going to start if you begin with problems. You're never going to start if you begin with excuses. You're never going to start if you start by seeing the problems. If you start with your journey by only seeing problems, start to see the good side of things. Start to see the fact that you have a voice. Start to see that the fact that you have a phone, whatever it is, that can help you to just begin. Start to see those positives. Don't focus on the things that you think you may not have, or things that you think you may need. Focus on the things that you do have right now. If a phone is what you have to record or to create your content, a phone is what you should use. If an editing app that is limited, in terms of the editing that it can do is what you have, then start with that editing app. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you build up and you grow as you go. And so if you want to start already at the top, you're never going to be able to see that. You're never going to be able to see the value of the growth. You're never going to be able to see the value of those humble beginnings. So don't despise those humble beginnings. Start with what you already have. And at the end of the day, some of us, whether we're aware of it or not, whether it's intentional or not, we use those things of, I don't have this, or I need this, as an excuse. And sometimes it's rooted in fear, because maybe people are not you're scared of how people are going to receive your work. You're scared if they're going to like it or not. But at the end of the day, I feel like you need to get over that, and you're never going to know until you try. You're never going to know if people actually enjoy your stuff until you try. You're never going to be able to see yourself grow in your creative journey until you try. You know what I'm saying? So it will be so beautiful when you look back years later and you see the growth that has occurred through, whether it's your equipment, whether it's your skills, whether it's the way that you do things, your confidence, your courage when you speak, whatever it is that you're doing in that respective area of things, you will never be able to see your growth and to appreciate those humble beginnings if you focus on those excuses, if you focus on those fears. You need to overcome that fear. You need to pray over that fear, pray about it, and at the end of the day, I feel like sometimes we just need to get over ourselves and just do it. We just need to get to doing, get to executing. Don't think about it too much, just do it. The next thing is social media hiatus. And that is basically you taking a break from social media. If you still feel like after doing all of these things, you don't have that spark, you don't have that motivation, maybe it's time for you to take a break. Maybe it's time for you to take a step back, and maybe it's time for you to get some inspiration somewhere else, because those social media breaks, I feel like, always leave you feeling like, I don't know, when you come back, you feel rejuvenated. Your creative spark often feels like, it's been lit up again, and you are ready to go because you've taken that break. Because some of us are operating from burnout, and you cannot operate from a place of burnout because it will show. Whether you're aware of it or not, it will start to show in your work. Your burnout is showing in your work and you are not aware of it. So take a step back, log off those social media accounts, and actually actively do things while you're taking the break that will ensure that your spark is lit up, because we have different ways and different places where we find inspiration. So make sure that in that break you're doing those things, you're pursuing those things, and you're having those conversations with yourself, and not just taking a break. Because you can take a break and not actually actively take a break. You can take a break and log off, but you're not actually doing the work. But do the work that you need to do in order for you to regain that creative spark. If it is that important to you, trust me, you will put that work in. The next one is, as I've said, find inspiration. We find inspiration in different places. Some people find inspiration from nature. Some people find inspiration from being around certain people. Some people find inspiration from, different things. So whatever it is that gives you inspiration, lean into those things. Tap into those things. For me, I always correct myself and recognize that, God has created me. God has created heavens and the earth, and therefore I've been created by a very creative God. And so there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to go before God and ask for creativity and ask Him to open my eyes and give me creativity, because at the end of the day, if you look around us, we see God's creativity all around. And so He will not withhold that from you. He has given you, those very talents and those gifts within you to use them, but to use them for His glory, And so tap into God, tap into that creativity that He has given you, that God-given creativity. Ask Him, you know what I'm saying? Know that there are no limitations when it comes to what He can do and what He can give to you when it comes to your creativity. He can really open up your mind to see things and give you perspectives that you didn't know you had. Because sometimes I feel like we think that we know better than God, and we really don't. Honestly, we really don't. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, we really get to a point where we think, oh, I've got this, and you really don't got this. And God wants to help you even in those aspects and areas where you feel like He may be uninterested and He is interested in them. He's a creative God, and you are created by Him, and therefore you have been given those very things within you, those talents and those gifts, for a reason. And so when you tap into Him, and when you tap into that creativity, and ask Him to reveal certain perspectives that He wants you to have within your creativity, He will definitely do that. Ever since I started praying over my creativity, it has just taken a different level. There's a certain grace that is attached to it. I know I haven't reached the fullness of it, but I just know that just because I've given that over to God, there's a certain grace that is attached to it that I wouldn't have been able to accomplish if I had not allowed God to take over in that area and aspect of my life and my creativity. Last but not least, connect with other creatives. Connecting with other creatives leaves you more inspired because you're able to, speak into one another. You're able to share these different ideas, and you're also able to share these struggles that you guys are going through. Because at the end of the day, I feel like when you're in a place of isolation, you often think that you're the only one going through a certain thing, and you're not. There are other creatives who are also in the same funk that you find yourself in. So in order for you to get out of that creative funk, it's important for you to recognize that you're not the only person going through this. There are other creatives worldwide going through the same thing. So make that step of connecting with other creatives. We've been given this platform of social media, and we can connect with people from all over the world and share our experiences and all of these things. So I feel like it's important to connect with like-minded people who are in the same mindset and the same journey that you're in. It might not be the exact same, but at the end of the day, you have those same struggles, you share those same you know you share those same mindsets and those same uh yeah those same mindsets when it comes to your creativity. So connecting with them truly truly will help you to remember your why again, remember the purpose of you creating, and you actually get more inspired because you hear from different people, you hear from their different perspectives, and yeah, you just get refreshed from that, creatively speaking. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you were encouraged. And these tips helped you, whether you're going through a creative funk, whether it's in any other aspect or area of your life and career. I feel like these points could really genuinely help you. You can take them with a pinch of salt, of course, but I'm just sharing things that have worked for me, that do work for me. And so and some of these things I do them without even recognizing, like connecting with other people and all of these other things. I just feel like it's important for you to ensure that you're putting the work in so that you see the results of what you are expecting to achieve, what you're expecting to accomplish through the work and through the creativity that you're putting out there in the world. But yeah, I hope you were encouraged. I hope you were helped. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, as well as subscribe. And yeah, guys, until next time, God willingly, it is a peace out from me. It is love from me. And I hope you're all staying prayed up. I hope you're all staying connected to the source, which is God. And yeah, until next time, you will see me. Bye.